Before we can proceed to the lesson topic, you must be able to understand the difference between sporophyte and gametophyte phases, the structure of plant tissues, anatomy of stem, root and leaves, the role of spores and seeds. Let's begin with some general characteristics of pteridophytes. The pteridophytes were the first land plants, the terrestrial plants, divided into two broad groups, the horsetails and the ferns. They are found in cool, damp and shady places, that is, areas where sufficient moisture is available. They are rarely found in sandy areas. The main plant body is the sporophyte. Now, since the main plant body is sporophyte, this group of plants possess true roots, true stem and true leaves. These are also the first plants to possess vascular tissue. Since they do not live in water, they need proper conducting tissue to conduct water and minerals and then to transport food. Some of the common examples are Selaginella, Equisetum, fern and Salvinia. The diagram you see here is from your book of Equisetum. Now let's start with the vegetative characters. The leaf may be small, which is known as microphylls, example Selaginella, or it may be large, known as macrophylls, as in ferns. We just said that the main plant body is sporophyte, which means that it is diploid, carries 2n chromosome number. Sporophyte reproduces through spores and that is why it is known as sporophyte. The spores are present on special leaf-like structure known as sporophylls. We just saw the macrophylls of fern. On the lower side of macrophylls, as you can see here, the sporophylls are seen. Sometimes these sporophylls are arranged in compact structures. These compact structures are known as cone or strobili. These are found in Selaginella and Equisetum. Now, on the basis of what types of spores a plant produces, the type of sporophyte can be two, homosporous and heterosporous. Homosporous is when all the spores produced on a plant are of the same kind, as in Equisetum. Heterosporous is when two types of spores are produced, the megaspores and the microspores. The megaspores will give rise to the female gametophyte and the microspores will give rise to the male gametophyte. So we can say that the megaspores are the female spores and microspores are the male spores. So homosporous is when all the spores produced on a plant are of same kind, and heterosporous when male and female spores are produced on a plant. Now let's see how the spores are formed and what phases of life cycle are involved in spore formation. This is the main plant body, the sporophyte, which is diploid with stem, leaf and roots. This sporophyte will bear special leaves known as sporophyll. Again, the sporophylls are formed on the sporophyte. So these are also diploid. These sporophylls on their lower side will have brown colored structures which are groups of sporangia. The sporangia are special bags which form inside which the spores are formed. Now inside the sporangia, when it is immature, there are special cells known as spore mother cells. These spore mother cells will form the spores. So up till here you can see that these stages are all diploid, that is 2n stages. In the spore mother cells, the meiosis will take place and as a result haploid spores will be formed. These haploid spores upon germination will form the gametophyte. Now gametophyte always reproduces through gametes, by formation of gametes, that means by sexual reproduction. Now this is the gametophytic phase of the pteridophyte. You can see that the structure that is seen here is not differentiated into stem, root or leaf. Instead it has a heart-shaped structure with three parts labeled: the archegonia, the antheridia and the rhizoids. The rhizoids are root-like. So stem, root and leaf are not present in this structure. Instead the structure is thallus-like. It is known as prothallus. This is the gametophyte of the pteridophyte. We just saw that spores are formed from the sporophyte. These spores upon germination produce this prothallus or the gametophyte. Now these gametophytes are small, they are multicellular, and you can see the green color, which means they are photosynthetic, and so they are not dependent on the sporophyte, they are free living. Now this is the phase which requires water. So it requires cool, damp and shady places to grow. Why it requires water, we'll just see. And this bears the sex organs, that is the antheridium and the archegonium. Now this is the prothallus of pteridophytes. You can see the antheridia. The antheridia bear the anthrozoids or the male gametes. So antheridia are the male reproductive parts. The archegonia are the female reproductive parts, and they bear the egg cell or the female gamete. Now for fertilization to take place, the anthrozoids have to go to the egg cell or the female gamete. The anthrozoids are motile and they require water for this transport. So the fertilization takes place inside the archegonia. The zygote is formed inside the archegonia. Now further development of zygote, that is into the embryo, takes place within female gametophyte. This is similar to the development of seed in angiosperm, and that is why it is a very important step of evolution. This indicates the development of seed habit. Now let's review the life cycle of pteridophytes. Since here the main plant body is sporophyte, let's start the study with the sporophyte. This is the diploid phase, 2N phase. This sporophyte reproduces through formation of spores. So spores are formed in sporangia. These sporangia have special cells known as spore mother cells. Now these two, sporangia as well as spore mother cells, are on the sporophyte, so they are also diploid. Meiosis occurs in the spore mother cells, and these spore mother cells develop into spores. These spores are formed as a result of meiosis, so they are haploid. Now these spores will germinate to form the gametophyte. So you can see that the spore is the first cell of the gametophytic phase, and this will form the gametophyte. Now gametophyte, as we just studied, has two parts, the antheridium and the archegonium. The antheridium bears the anthrozoids or the male gametes, and the archegonium bears the egg or the female gamete. Now all these are haploid. These are born for sexual reproduction. So anthrozoid, with the help of water, reaches the egg. Fertilization occurs and the zygote is formed. This zygote is again diploid. So this will be the first cell of the sporophytic phase. The zygote will germinate to form the sporophyte. And that is how the life cycle of pteridophyte goes on. Now the economic importance. First, the benefits. Pteridophyte has many medicinal benefits. It acts as soil binders. Ferns are said to be very good soil binders and protect the soil from erosion. Ferns are also ornamental. Many other pteridophytes are used as ornamental plants, like the fern as well as the Selachimella. Now the classification of pteridophytes. And some examples. Now a quick recap. Here are your questions for your practice. Try to solve them. In case of any doubts, you can always drop a comment or watch the video again.